tell a lot about a person if you would take the time to go through their garbage. You can tell a lot about a country if you would take the time to go through all the garbage collected in a country in any given day. Well, if we went through the garbage collected in the United States on a Monday, this is what we would find. We would find 400 million empty beer cans, 350 million empty pop cans, 255 million used pizza boxes, 152 million church bulletins. Mind you, this is a Monday. 37 million empty aspirin bottles and 14 million maps to various places. Now, when you put that all together, what does that say about folks living here in the United States? It means that we drink a lot, we eat a lot, we have no idea what's going on in church, and we've lost our sense of direction. But when you see that style of consumption, there's going to be depletion, and then you have to say to yourself, how do you replenish that which you have consumed? And that turns out to be the key message of today's gospel reading. Now, the gospel is coming out of the 2nd chapter of John, verses 1 to 11 inclusive. Now, if you're sitting there this morning, you're saying to yourself, I feel worn out, I feel consumed, I feel depleted, I've lost my energy, I'm zapped, I don't have the strength to continue on, I need my personal tank filled. How do I get all that stuff replenished? We're going to find out in today's gospel reading. Let's take a look at verse 1 of the 2nd chapter of John. Now, this is a very passive little verse, but it's going to set up verse 2 and 3 here in a moment. It says in verse 1 of the 2nd chapter of John, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples are also invited to the wedding. Now, it turns out to be that the miracle that occurs at Cana in Galilee, when Jesus turns the water into wine, it is the very first of all the miracles Jesus performs in the New Testament. We're not sure how many people were invited to that wedding, and we don't have a list of all the guests. But we know this much. We know 14 people who were attending that wedding. So we know Jesus was there, Mary was there, and Jesus' disciples, that turns out to be 12 fellows. So we know 14 people, in fact, who were at that wedding. Now, let's take a look at the setup, what this leads to, verse 2 and 3 of the 2nd chapter of John. It says there, we'll go through this first and double back. When the wine ran short, the mother of Jesus said to him, they have no wine. And Jesus said to a woman, how does this concern affect me? His mother said to the servants, do whatever he tells you. Now, we know this. All those wedding guests, the 14 we talked about, and the others, there was definitely some serious wine consumption going on here. But when you take a look at that, I would have to say just beyond the very first line, I find it amazing the interaction between Jesus and Mary, his mother. See, the Gospels are rich. And if you read the Gospels really fast and you just go through the Gospel of John in one evening setting, you're going to miss the nuance of each verse of the Gospel. Now, when you read the Gospels and you read about all the miracles of Jesus Christ, we know that Jesus is both human and divine. And typically, his divinity always seems to be dominant. But I would have to say, in these two verses here, the humanity of Jesus Christ is dominant. Look at the exchange between he and his mom. Check this out. The mother of Jesus, that's Mary, said to him, said to Jesus, they have no wine. Now, you would think Jesus would have said, well, Mom, I got this. Mom, no problem. Mom, I'll take care of this. Mom, I'll go get some more. Mom, I got a plan in mind. But look at what he says to his mother. I can't imagine saying this. Look at what he says. This is humanity. She have no more wine. And Jesus said to a woman, he called his mom woman. How many people call their mom woman? I wouldn't even imagine using that phrase. Woman. And then he said, how does this concern of yours affect me? What he's saying is, hey, woman. Not even saying mom. There's people standing, there's time and place for everything. There's people standing there. What he's saying is, this isn't my problem. I care less. Now, I love what Mary does. Because moms, everyone here who is a mom and a dad, but this is a reference to a mother here. But all of our moms, you know what it takes to be a mom. Moms typically have to swallow a lot of stuff that doesn't taste good, right? Moms put up with a lot from their kids. And so look at what Mary does. When Jesus says to her, "Woman, how does this concern affect me?" She doesn't respond to it, does she? She doesn't take him on and say, "You sit down right now, we got to talk. You're grounded. 3 weeks, you're not going anywhere." Now, I find amazing is this, but she gets back at him. She doesn't respond to the woman phrase. Jesus is standing there, the guests are there, the servers are there, and look at what she says. She doesn't correct him on that woman stuff, but she says, his mother said to the servers, "Do whatever he tells you." What's that saying? She's saying, "Look, son, I'm not going to correct you on this woman stuff that you just shared with me. But all I know is this, you're doing it." Why do I know you're doing it? Because she looked at the servers and said, "Whatever he tells you, do it." Jesus had to stand there and say, well, she's got me on that one. She didn't have to correct me. I stood corrected. She didn't actually use any words to correct me, but she just let me say that phrase. Maybe I was in a bad mood, because again, this is the beautiful part of this little section. The humanity of Jesus is at the forefront here. So maybe he was a little tired, a little worn out. Maybe he himself felt a little consumed. He gives this incredible answer to his mother. She let him get away with it, but then she corrects him by saying to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now the message then is what? This is what I want you to hold on to. The message is Mary realized that when something is consumed and it's who is the best person to turn to get that which is consumed repleted, replenished? She turns to Jesus. Because she realized that at the end of the day, the only person that can take care of this problem is going to be Jesus. So what Mary is saying to every husband and father in Mass this morning, if you're sitting there saying to yourself, "I've given everything to my family. My job, I do another job, I work overtime, I'm exhausted, I'm depleted, I can't go on," Mary would say to you, then you need to turn to Jesus. Because he's the person that can restore that which you used. For every wife and mother in Mass this morning who is saying that I give everything to my family. My kids are always saying, "Do this, do that, do this, do that." And I'm just exhausted. I'm tired of doing all these things. And I can't go on anymore. Mary would say to that husband, to that wife, to that mother, then if you need replenished, there's only one place you can turn to, and that's to Jesus on the cross. To the person who is saying that my energy is out. I don't have the strength to continue on. It's the dead of winter, and I feel as dead as winter does. I feel that dead inside, and I just can't go on. Mary would say there's only one place you're going to find to get your tank replenished, to get your tank of life full again, and you've got to turn to the cross. You've got to turn to Jesus. Someone once asked Jesus, "Jesus, how much you love me?" And Jesus said, "I love you this much." He stretched out his arms and died on the cross for our sins. That's the message of the gospel reading. It's coming right out of here, out of verse 3, actually, of the 2nd chapter of John. Do whatever he tells you. Because what Mary is saying is, it is in my son Jesus. And he'll hear what you have to say. It's in my son Jesus that when you feel consumed and you feel depleted, that he will take care of your needs and restock your personal self and restock what you need. What a powerful message. If you're running on empty and you're just exhausted and you can't go on, and you wonder how you can, all you have to do is do what Mary did. She turned to the only person that could correct the problem of depletion, and she turned to Jesus.